Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Loot Drop podcast this week. Joining me today are these two degenerates, Wrathogen and Prezi J. We've got a really good episode planned for you guys. Now, here in the intro, I made a mistake with my audio capture. I apologize for that.
You're
That is
welcome.
resolved shortly, but you will be able to hear Prezi and Wrathogen. Thank you guys so much for listening and
Good.
enjoy
Just
the
chilling at
episode.
this
Bye bye.
fairly new job. So I'm staying in a hotel in beautiful RVA. Love it here, especially the close proximity to Sunbro and not actually seeing him is really, really great. That's my favorite part of this trip.
I mean, the reality is also that I'm pretty happy that I don't live close to Sombro, but I do. So that if I had to see him, I could. But I don't really want to on a regular basis. I'm glad this is all virtual at the moment. Yeah, well, it'll happen. It'll happen.
So, Prezi, I talked to Sunbro about coming to see him tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I want Sunbro to let me take over his stream just for like 5 minutes.
He-
Just if I could do his intro, I would be good.
oh my gosh, that would be the best thing in the world. You just need to do his ending. His endings are the most cringiest things in the world. Want to say that again? Well, it's more like you're defeated because you really suck at all the video games you're playing, and so you're like, "Thank you guys for being here today, spending a little bit of your time here today. We really appreciate you. I love you to death. Have a great day. Bye." That's pretty much how your endings always sound and feel like, at least.
What you have to do in order to do a good Sunbro impression is you have to use as many syllables in each word as possible.
It's absolutely true. Oh, I love us three being back together, and this is what we get into.
So instead of him saying that, he would be like, "Farewell, Twitch IRC channel."
Good. That's so good. Oh my gosh.
You are the definition of the fancy Pooh Bear meme.
That's
I
a
just,
good. uh, I've met him in person. I definitely feel that. I needed to put those into four-wheel drive. It was very imperative that I did put them into four-wheel drive to be able to help your butt move. So, yeah, you should. It's the big Zuck man, just chilling with his stupid amount of money. Facebook has said that 100% of subscriptions and money deals will turn to strictly no revenue for themselves. That is for their partnered echelon, um, which some bro was reading off kind of how that it all is partaking. It's kind of a big leap you got to make to get there. Yeah, but you got to think like Twitch is a lot, right? Hold on, hold on. When we one thing that happens when we speak, we don't hear Wrath. So when Wrath starts to speak, it almost has to do like the whole raise his hand thing. But yes, Wrath, what were you gonna? Yes, Wrath, what were you gonna say?
they have the level up program. It's structured very similar to Twitch as far as like affiliates and partners. But I don't know about y'all, but even though this deal sounds sweet and you've got streamers like, Disguised Toast that has made a name for himself there, Z Laner that's done really well there. I don't know about y'all, but Facebook just kind of feels disgusting to me. Like when
Well,
you think about like the social dilemma, like you watch that documentary, like that
yeah,
makes me participate in that.
yeah. I mean, you got to think though, like them doing this is good, and I mean, everybody's now wondering like, okay, Twitch, it's your turn. YouTube, it's your turn.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? And the reality is, they're not gonna do anything, and they shouldn't. Yeah, they shouldn't. Yeah. Well, so The difference I think you still have though is while YouTube is and I'm going to use these three examples, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook in this argument. While YouTube is a social media platform, we don't ever think of it truly as a social media platform. We think of it as a creator to like consumer based platform, as well as Twitch is the same, I would believe. Well, I understand both of those fall underneath the realm of social media. Facebook is truly a traditional social media site. And so it wasn't built for the streaming aspect of it. While they've done very well with it, and I will say that their discoverability is pretty high on that platform, the where it is not as much on Twitch and on YouTube. YouTube is one also not great for live gaming or streaming in really any regard because it's really hard to find that content. Yeah, correct. Yeah, but the thing is they've already discovered themselves as that, right? So like my thing is my one thing to creators is if you make the switch to Facebook, go, and that proud of you either way, like make that decision of what you want to do. Make sure you're comfortable where your community wants to go. Even if you have four people that regularly watch you, that's still your community. And so you don't always have to be at their beck and call and do exactly what they want, do what you want to, but just see where they're at. But also don't take this as I personally, and other people feel different ways. Don't take this as like God's hand coming out to meet you, to help you as a creator, because it's still not. Um, and probably still, as somebody likes to use the analogy, which I like too, which is the open mic night. Sometimes just excel at the open mic night and see who's sitting in the crowd. Um, I think that's still a better platform.
Speaking of that, I saw a statistic recently that said it was something to the tune of 1 in 300 Americans has a podcast.
Oh yeah, it's like one. Yeah, it's really high.
Yeah. So my whole take on the situation is, and there's probably a lot of people that would agree with me, and a lot of people that just don't care as much as I do. But like, if you look at Zuckerberg's interactions and like all of the videos of just him and like how he talks to people, like there's just literally nothing that I feel like I can trust about Facebook. So even though this is a very pro creator strategy right now, I'm thinking 3, 4, 5 years from now, when some of these creators have diminished their community to probably a sixth or less of the size, just looking at raw market share that Facebook has versus Twitch.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Facebook has their hand out and they're looking for money. Is this going to justify all of the loss of Prime subs that people could get on Twitch, as well as the sheer loss of viewership? So I'm thinking this is really good for people that.
Did we lose Wrath's audio? Did I lose audio?
Definitely muted
There we go.
himself, like in true Sombro fashion.
There we go. Sorry about that. Prezi, are you recording the audio for this?
No,
Okay.
I don't typically know that you just drop it in.
Yep. We'll hear you and Wrath talking for the first 11 minutes and 30 seconds. Windows update. It changed. It changed to the default mic on my That's what I was looking at just now. It changed the default mic. So any of my audio, intro and everything, I'll have to redo the intro. I'll do it in post.
That'll be great. I can't wait for this.
Depresso.
What
Yeah.
episode? Are
This is
This is
episode
8.
8. We're almost
episode
in double digits.
So they always say that like it's like 80% of all podcasts fail because they don't get to episode 7.
Really?
Yeah.
It got a little rough for us, there through 6 and 7, but we got through it.
Yeah, and it's evidently really typical. Well, welcome back, Sumbro. Glad to have you here with us. If you've heard any empty spots in this podcast, it's due to the fact that currently we trust Total Sumbro with the recording of this, and
you'll be
it seems
happy
like
to
we
know.
can't do that.
You'll be happy to know that you and Wrath are completely uninterrupted. Your audio has been captured. It is just mine. I only memed on myself.
I mean, to be honest, if there was going to be one of the three of us that wouldn't have their audio captured, yours was probably the best one to go with. So
This may be the highest viewed podcast just because.
just kidding.
No, you're fine.
So I mean, just to wrap this up, basically, I would say don't trust them at all. I don't trust them with anything. I truly don't at the moment. They've done nothing to gain my trust out of that. But if you're willing to go that way, have fun, and hopefully you won't be blindsided by something later on. That's basically the thing of it. Speaking of things in the digital atmosphere, I'm going to bring up the fact that we saw a trailer launch, which I really it would have been even funnier if your mic was off during this talk. But Battlefront released a trailer, and Battlefront 2042, correct? Is what the title is.
Yeah, and the trailer looked really good.
So it looked good. I want to say that, Raph.
Battlefront or Battlefield?
Battlefield.
I may have said Battlefront.
Battlefield 2042.
Yeah. In very typical Battlefield style, it has exactly what you would expect out of a new FPS game. And it also it shows things such as a massive desert map, a map on Antarctica that ranges about 50 kilometers. So back to the old Battlefield style of just massive maps. And that's because of all of the extra stuff they have put into their game, such as vehicles and things like that.
It looked like there was an entire city was a map.
So there's a map there that has buildings, and in the trailer you see firefight, obviously in the air with different helicopters, which is perfect because they're harder to shoot down when they're moving through that kind of thing. And also there's a sandstorm going on in that city at the same exact time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're pulling out the stops for this.
There was another city that had a tornado tear through, and it looks like, so I haven't played a ton of Battlefield, and correct me if I'm wrong, but basically, can you select like an operator class to spec into in that game? Because it looked like in the trailer that one of the operators was almost like a flight specialist, like a ranger, like a jump ranger, and he gets sucked up. Yeah, he gets sucked up in this tornado, and he jumps out of the car in this tornado and uses his wingsuit to like yeet out of there. And I was like, and they're bringing back classic skill shots too. Did you see the part where the guy jumped out of the jet?
Yep, I did see that too. Here is the kicker for the game. No story mode. They have put all of. Oh, go ahead.
What are they doing with the battle royale though?
Correct.
What do they? I didn't see.
Oh,
it.
what are they doing?
There is no. I don't think there is a battle royale. It's multiplayer. It's 64v64 multiplayer.
I think so too. I think they're back to the original stuff. I don't know what they're doing in that realm.
It's a $70 multiplayer only Battlefield.
Yep. Exactly. No, it's exactly right.
With that being said, I think it's going to be on Game Pass day one.
I don't know if that matters. Cause like who cares?
It matters for Xbox.
Yeah, cool. I sold mine and I got rid of my Game Pass for obvious reasons. But How in the year 2021 are you releasing a game without a battle royale mode?
I mean, it's still early days. They could roll it back. But also, like, a lot of games do Battle Royale. Do you need a Battle Royale if you're already doing 64 people versus 64 people? Do you realize how much chaos there's going to be?
I think what we have to accept in 2021 is a shooter coming out without a battle royale might as well be like a shooter coming out without deathmatch.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Like, but like that has now become a core game mode of every first-person shooter.
I guess.
And
Imagine, imagine Destiny. They just wiped out all of the single player content, all of the PvP content, and it was only a battle royale.
That'd be awful. Like, for that
yeah,
game in particular.
welcome to what you're about to go into.
Yeah, but it's just PvP. And Battlefield has always been about huge maps, large multiplayer, vehicles, destruction of the environment.
And that was fun back in like Battlefield 2. I don't think it's fun. It doesn't feel inspired. I'm sure you can make the same argument for battle royales, but when you look at the battle royale genre, it started with H1Z1 PUBG, right?
Yeah.
That was era, and then it moved on to Fortnite, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then to Apex, and now it's currently still stuck on Warzone, which is arguably probably one of the best, most detailed battle royale experiences out there at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to give Fortnite credit where Fortnite needs credit, but yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like the level of depth of design and whatnot. I mean, Fortnite is in a different way, but I just think that Warzone really needs a competitor because at this point they really have none. Both Apex and Fortnite are the closest things they have to competitors, and both of them play so incredibly different that they're really makes it not competitive.
Yeah, I was also kind of hoping this Battlefield would come out with a true BR mode because I mean I'll be honest with you, um, the best part about Battlefield is the fact that I can just jump in a tank and just start shooting people, or spawn in and be in
You
the
don't think
middle of
that
a
would break the
helicopter.
BR?
No, because it's like literally in BRs right now. Battlefield was just able to capitalize on it. They were doing it correctly. I can still jump into a car right now in Fortnite and or in Call of Duty. Um,
Yeah,
but
but you can't jump into, like, an F-16.
it's true.
Or, like, an Apache attack
Yeah, but
helicopter,
okay, so
right?
experience this. Ready for this? Let's say that the BR were to go to like 8 people, 8 people squads, right? And you had to literally squat up to where like individuals had to be in, like you had to have like 2 people in the sky, 2 people ground, 2 people here, or whatever you had to do. Like that changes the game, right? And that also allows them to play into what Battlefield really is good at. To be honest with you, you may be right though, in the regards to they just aren't ready to
Well,
be able to
didn't with the
introduce what
last
they do.
Battlefield they had that Firestorm BR.
Correct.
So, and to be fair, we don't know that there isn't going to be a BR. Just as it stands right now, we don't know anything about a possible BR. We
Correct.
only
We just
saw
know there's no
gameplay.
story mode.
We just know that there's no story mode. But maybe there's no story mode because there's a BR.
Yeah. No, it's
And
100%
maybe
true.
the game's $70, but maybe they have a free to play BR. The
I
answer is we
I
don't
don't know.
know.
Yeah,
The
and
answer,
I
yeah.
don't know who's gonna pay. I mean, I know the ridiculous amount of people that will, but I don't know who will want to really pay $70 for a for a for just a PvP mode. It's
Yeah.
like I mean I would do that for Call of Duty, but I'll be honest with you, I don't play the story mode anymore in Call of Duty, but at least I know that it could be there, right? So like at least I feel like I'm getting my value out of it, regardless of how it plays. So yeah, I don't know. I'm glad it's not at the new price point, that $80 price point.
What is at the new price point? It's $70.
Oh, is that the new price point? I thought it was at.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Because you
Yeah,
pay
yeah, yeah.
$59.99.
Yep.
Now it is. Yeah, and I still don't like that price point for what it is, but
No, it's okay. According to Bobby Kotick, consumers are ready.
yeah, well, Yeah, I swear.
Fuck that guy.
I mean, yeah, I don't really care. You could say whatever you want. I mean, yeah, that's ridiculous.
It it's astounding to me that someone that he was like, "Look, I'm going to cut my base salary by like 50%. You know, I'm so pro employee." His base salary is like $250,000. So like good on you. Thank you for cutting that. Okay, by like 125,000, but that's not where he makes his money. He makes his money in stock options.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
Like he
So
makes
yeah,
so much money in stock
yeah,
options.
I'm not surprised with that at all. So no, it'll be good. I'm excited for it because I just like Battlefield. I think that it's a really good game mode, but or game. So I'm happy for it.
Yeah, big thing. Big thing.
So one last thing I know I wanted to talk about, and I know this episode
Go
may be a
ahead.
little short, but I don't think it's gonna be a bad thing. Um, is E3, as we all know, will be virtual. Yeah, part of that kind of is just trash. I'll be honest with you. I understand that we're still, and many people want to neglect it, or they can argue with me as much as they want. We still are relatively in a pandemic, and we still have a good amount of people that still cannot be vaccinated for different reasons. And for that reason, I understand their ethical and moral decision to go online.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as we saw with WWDC, which is Apple's um, recent conference that was all digital this past week, people did not like that. They really wanted reporters there in the seats. So that definitely does not help a lot of things. But one thing that E3 is doing is they're allowing you to create your own game avatar or your own character
Yeah.
to be seated at the table as if you were there. While I think this is a great idea, and I'll propose what is the issue right now with this, and then we can talk about it. Um, and very typical of big companies, I have no shock that they would be missing the mark somewhere when it came to this. And I understand that they probably had a ton of people on this development because of the ramifications they could have with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but some people aren't happy with the avatar, and not for the reasons that we expected. I expected the reasons would be for racial bias, potentially, and different things there. They're not saying that it's not there, but the major thing they're upset about, which was weird, was the hair color. And the reason they were upset about it, or even hair design, was because of the creativity that is lacking there. And
Yep.
also, the only pronouns they were able to disdain were he, him. They weren't able to open up that, so that also creates
I
another
think
issue.
I think at the end of the day, it's just a diversity issue. Like we were talking a little bit before we went live, but it's anything that has any sort of color or like pigmentation can be brought in with a hex code, so that's good.
Right.
Regardless of whatever your skin tone is, you can be represented in that way. But without adequate hairstyles to accompany that, it's really a half measure.
Yeah, and I think it's somewhat of people nitpicking the issue. Um, I truly think that um, if it was more, if it was because they weren't identifying individuals because of their race or their ethnicity. Then they're stepping a boundary, right? And we're three white dudes sitting here talking about this, but it's relevant to talk about the fact that, like if that wasn't there, then you're obviously missing a sect of people that are potentially going to be represented there.
When
And so,
I think that's the issue is that if you Wrath and I tried making a character, I'm pretty sure our standard white guy haircuts would not be very hard to find.
yeah,
Um,
I mean,
but
maybe.
it's probably a little more difficult for other folks to be adequately represented in their hairstyles or stylistic choices.
Yeah. No, it's definitely true. I do want to bring it up because I'm interested to see how this goes through. It's something that I never really thought about. Like when the Wii came out, like Xbox 360 had like the whole avatar thing that no one ever used. But like the Wii was when you had your own avatar and everyone wanted to create one on your home one because you could go into that big place with like everyone in it.
Yeah.
Um, and it, I never thought, I guess, of the development you had to have behind that one, not to make a controversy, but also two, just to be like relevant with how people look and how people are,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so I don't know if I've ever thought about like that has to be a very in-depth piece. So shout out to E3 for trying to do something to engage their audience, probably better than what Apple did during their conference. And I'm interested to see where that goes from there.
So Wrath, recently you finally hopped into D2 to play a little bit of PvP with us. How was that experience? Because I wasn't the vibes I were getting were not very good.
I had to watch stress relief videos for like 10 minutes afterwards.
But I wasn't part of this experience. You jumped in.
It was with Kenji and I. Yeah.
Mm.
Um. So a
He's gonna be
large
put into lobbies a lot harder than what he needed to get into
well the
initially.
thing he played the day before the stasis nerf as well. So like he went in peak meme lord.
Oh my gosh. Well, to be fair, you should have just played with Sumbro.
We can't hear you, Wrath.
Yesterday.
I think he's showing us what he thinks of Destiny. And he just jumped over his bed. He's now jumping back around. He's jumping on all the furniture in the hotel room. People below him really hate him. Um, he's coming around turn 3. He's about to get back to the chair. Oh, and he's found it. See,
Stasis got him.
yeah. Well, if you would have just played with Sombra, you would have been just fine because he's trash at the game. But because you had Kenji in your lobby, he's just dragging up that score. Like,
We just played Control. We didn't play any skill based
I
matchmaking.
understand. Well, I mean,
Control's just connection based.
yeah, I understand. But if you have somebody that actually can make kills, then you're just kind of leaving up all the garbage for
No,
other people.
we were getting rolled. It was full
Oh,
tilt stasis. It was full tilt stasis. It was a bad time.
it's calm now. It's boring, but it's calm now.
So
I kind of like the
you don't
drama.
like the movement, Wrath? The amount of like movement and mobility in the game? Is that your gripe?
So I don't have a problem with the game. It was just the PvP. Like the single player is fine because you can just kind of vibe on that. But my issue is that maybe it's just the fact I'm 30 now, but I had no fucking clue what was going on.
Oh yeah. So that's
That
that's a
gets
Done.
common
better.
problem.
That gets better. Like as you play the game and you
It
learn the
does.
subclasses, their abilities, as you learn weapons and what different exotic weapons do, that does get better.
I can't say that actually gets better at all.
Prezi, you know, but like the issue is like for Wrath, he's green into it, and so something yeets him from across the map, and he's like, I have no idea what just killed me or what I could do to counter that. You know what killed you or what you could have done to counter it, or if you can counter it.
I
Like
still don't.
if someone pops Dawnblade, you know your
Hold on,
golden
hold
gun will
on.
shut it
Yeah,
down.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, what?
To me, there's just a lot of intricacies to that game that you guys know. But imagine if you just started playing Fortnite for the first time ever right now.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Well, also, I'll be honest with you. Sumbro is the worst Sherpa or through a game, period. Like I've never met somebody worse to walk somebody through a game. So that doesn't help any of that aspect either. I spent a year and I didn't even know there was a collections. I spent a year and I didn't know what mods were. Hold on, let's see what else I didn't. There's a year through there. I didn't know what advancing your weapon was. What else
Like
should I name?
masterworking it.
Yeah, and no clue.
Yeah, so that's another thing, Wrath. Like when you get into getting like so you're rocking like pretty much all blue weapons right now, but as you get legendary weapons and those have weapon rolls, you come to find perks that jive with your playstyle and accentuate your playstyle so that you can do better with it, right?
Nope. Nope, that's too much time and too much effort for me. I'm 25 years old and I could care
Prezi,
less about
you are
roles.
deep into the game for something that's too much time for you.
Buddy, I look at Dim and if Dim has a check mark beside the gun, I keep it. If it doesn't, I trash it. I don't look at the rolls ever.
Really?
Yep, 100%.
Yikes.
I've thrown away probably some really great guns that I could just care less about.
That's why there's so much stuff in my vault.
Yeah, but also there's a reason why I just don't care. Like I'm just there to shoot shit. and it makes me so upset that the reason I like Call of Duty is because I can load into a free for all and I can go shoot people. I can load into a team death and I can go shoot people. You're search and destroy and sneakily then shoot people, right? Like there's an aspect to that game. In Destiny, I don't want to have to do trigonometry every 3 seconds to be able to shoot somebody.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. And there's just so many little tiny things that cool.
If
I'm glad
you
there's like a
if
nerd
you
community out there
watched the
for it. But
recent firing range, so they had we
I've
talked about
listened
this a
to
little
it.
bit on. Have you?
Well, yeah, I listened to that same podcast like every. Like it comes. There's 3 different podcasts out of that one group of people.
Okay. So
Um,
the
yeah.
sandbox designer was breaking down the numbers for like opening shot and like snapshot and
You
like
never listen to Fire Range? It seems like the first
yeah,
time
no,
you've
no,
ever
no,
listened
no.
to
I
this.
every week. Every week.
Okay.
It's just they go live when I'm streaming. So typically I have to watch the video the next day.
Yeah, I just listen to the podcast. But yeah, I get you. And it's really cool to hear about cone damage and fall off and magnetism and all these other things. It's like super cool, but I just don't care.
But my reason for liking it is when I get a gun, once you understand the effects of like range, accuracy, aim assist, and stability and what they do to those cones, then you know how much that gun is or isn't going to help your shot.
I think what Prezi is trying to say is it's been a very long time since we used smooth bore muskets, and we should not have to arc energy weapons.
You
We
don't.
control recoil on guns that don't fire bullets. Just throwing that out there.
Great point. It's a phenomenal point. And I say don't play Destiny until it's not pay to play, so that's okay. Pay to win. It's a pay to win game currently.
It's
So,
not. How is it pay to win?
well, it was before Stasis was nerfed. Now Stasis is nerfed, so now it's pay to lose your money.
Yeah, but
Except unless you
stasis will
get
be
DMT.
free.
Unless you
Stasis
get
will be
DMT.
free this coming January. When
You
they
you you say stuff like it's never gonna like it's gonna happen tomorrow. Like you're like, oh yeah, keep your Xbox because crossplay is coming in like 2 seasons. That's next year, buddy.
one season, firstly, but
They no
secondly,
one season with massive quotes around it.
no,
Massive,
season 15. So
massive quotes.
should be in September, like late August, early September.
I'm just gonna say that today I was in a match. I pulled out. I got a drop. It was a non-hunger, right? I did a good old shift tab, opened up my dim, saw it didn't have a check mark, held F.
Yeah, but that could have been a good role. So Dim is using community registered perks. So like say your gnawing hunger had surplus on it. Surplus is one of the best neutral game buffs that you can get on a weapon in that game.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Literally extra range, ready speed, stow speed, accuracy, stability. Literally
Yeah.
free.
Here's my argument to everything you're saying, right? You look for those rolls. You have a lot of those rolls on good weapons, yet you're still trash at the game. I don't look for those rolls on those weapons or anything, and I can still dumpster you.
All right, we're 1v1ing today.
I'd be happy to. Always happy to.
So, in other news, speaking of games that people have rage quit in the past,
Oh no.
I recently rage quit on GTFO.
Oh good. At least you
Oh,
finally realized that it's bad.
I still love the game. Still love the game. But I just could not have any more of this particular level I was on. So I got to tell y'all about this level, okay? So
Yeah.
you played, trying to understand the general idea of it. So picture this. We drop into this level, right? Huge room. I'm talking like Moria-sized room, right? So when they're down there in Lord of the Rings and Moria, and they come into that room with the pillars, feels like that. It's huge. And then there's a giant door with a scan right off the bat. Start the scan. Probably like 5 waves of mobs immediately push you from spawn. You're in this gigantic open room with no doors to protect you, and all you can do is basically do tower defense leading up to that door.
Right.
If you survive it, it takes every ounce of your ammo, and then the next room has like 15 giants and 2 scouts. So you're talking each of those mobs takes at least like 4 hits to kill it.
When you say the scout, you mean the like?
Yeah, the spaghetti monster. Yeah. And that 1 hit to kill it, but you have to hit it directly in the head. And when it's walking around giants that require 4 hits and hitting it will wake them up, it's basically impossible. So it turned into like Splinter Cell almost. We had to sneak through that entire room. And on top of that, it respawned and everything else. And I think I attempted that level probably 10 times last night and finally just could not do it anymore.
Yeah.
The one thing that's really irritating about that game is it reminds me of Phasmophobia a little bit in that there's a lot of desync issues. So when we played Phasmophobia, like we could take a photo on the camera and on each of our screens it's going to look like something different.
Right.
So in GTFO, if you got somebody that's got high ping, they could just wake a mob up for no reason because the game thinks they're moving.
Yeah.
Happened to attempts that I made on that level, and I just had to rage quit. I could not take it anymore.
So aren't the levels like somewhat randomly generated?
No.
Oh, so if you load into that level, that's what you're getting into every time?
The level itself is not randomly generated. The mobs are RNG.
Okay,
But
so maybe you get a roll where it's not all giants?
no, it's always all giants. It's just their locations and like there's certain factors that are not RNG. Like whatever the mob makeup for that room is not. Like if it calls for a scout to be in that room, it's always going to have a scout.
Okay.
They set it up to where they're like each room has like a bucket of mobs in quantities that it pulls from, and then specific RNG locations that they spawn in. But every room that they make, the RNG is kind of limited, and everything still feels pretty intentional.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's still a cool game for the way it's designed and fully, pieced out.
I'm looking forward to picking back up the Final Fantasy MMORPG.
Yeah,
Final
you said
Fantasy,
you're about to jump back into that. So
15, 14, 14. Final Fantasy 14.
14, yeah.
Yeah. Once I renew my subscription on that, I want to play around just to have something kind of different to play somewhat through the week.
Yeah,
and,
go ahead,
and just to
Wrath.
have.
Hold on. Sorry, Wrath, did you have something to say to that?
On 20%. I'm on 20%.
No. Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
Now.
Yeah.
I do want to say I will close this out here real quickly. Thank you all for listening to this, regardless of how this turns out. This is our nice bumpy episode 8. But we did just put up our first Let's Play, so please go back and check that out if you haven't. The previous 2 episodes were Sombro Wrath and Sombro Prezi, so please check those out as well. We do appreciate you listening to us. Please drop any comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.